Good morning. My name is Scott Cecil, and I'm going to be reading the Word with you today. I'm going to read the book of Genesis, and today we pick up in Genesis chapter 11. I'm going to read from the Message translation, so I hope you enjoy. At one time, the whole earth spoke the same language. It so happened that as they moved out of the east, they came upon a plain in the land of Shinar and settled down. They said to one another, "Come, let's make bricks and fire them well." They used brick for stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build ourselves a city and a tower that reaches heaven. Let's make ourselves famous so we won't be scattered here and there across the earth." God came down to look over the city and the tower those people had built. God took one look and said, "One people, one language. Why, this is only a first step. No telling what they'll come up with next. They'll stop at nothing. Come, we'll go down and garble their speech so they won't understand each other." Then God scattered them from there all over the world, and they had to quit building the city. That's how it came to be called Babel, because there God turned their language into Babel. From there, God scattered them all over the world. This is the story of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he had Arphaxad. He was 2 years after the flood. After he had Arphaxad, he lived 500 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Arphaxad was 35 years old, he had Shelah. After Arphaxad had Shelah, he lived 403 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah was 30 years old, he had Eber. After Shelah had Eber, he lived 403 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber was 34 years old, he had Peleg. After Eber had Peleg, he lived 430 more years and had other sons and daughters. And when Peleg was 30 years old, he had Reu. After he had Reu, he lived 209 more years and had other sons and daughters. And when Reu was 32 years old, he had Serug. After Reu had Serug, he lived 207 more years and had other sons and daughters. And when Serug was 30 years old, he had Nahor. After Serug had Nahor, he lived 200 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor was 29 years old, he had Terah. After Nahor had Terah, he lived 119 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Terah was 70 years old, he had Abram, Nahor, and Haran. This is the story of Terah. Terah had Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran had Lot. Haran died before his father, Terah, in the country of his family, Ur of the Chaldees. Abram and Nahor each got married. Abram's wife was Sarai. Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of his brother Haran. Haran had 2 daughters, Milcah and Iscah. Sarai was barren. She had no children. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, Haran's son, and Sarai, his daughters-in-law, the sons of Abram's wife, and set out with them from Ur of the Chaldees for the land of Canaan. But when they got as far as Haran, they settled down there. Terah lived 205 years. He died in Haran. Thank you for joining me in the reading of Genesis chapter 11. Please come back next time as we begin Genesis chapter 12. Have a great rest of the day.